This week, Lisa Wilkinson released an extract from her memoir. It Wasn't Meant to Be Like This, it's the title. And normally I wouldn't even mention this because exactly no one watching at home finds Lisa Wilkinson even remotely interesting. But it turns out that this memoir is actually going to make for a great read. Unfortunately, not for the reasons Lisa would probably like. In the released extract, Lisa tells the tale of her last morning on Today and paints the picture of an on-air feud brewing when Karl Stefanovic asks about her wedding vows being renewed in Byron Bay. Now, Karl didn't go to the ceremony, despite being invited, and Wilkinson wrote in the extract that in response to Karl's on-air question about the event, she turned to the camera and said, "Why would anybody care about that when it's news time?" Ice cold. Or at least it would be if it actually happened. Here's what really happened.
Well, good morning, folks. It is Monday, the 16th of October, and we've got pink on today just for Lisa and her honeymoon return. Lisa, good morning to you.
How good is that?
Yeah.
It's so lovely to be back.
Nice
and
to
thank
see
you
you.
to everyone for all your beautiful messages. We had a great day and we've had a fabulous honeymoon, but back to work today.
Where did you go?
We went to beautiful Byron Bay because we love Australia.
Yeah,
And you guys were in the Tweed on Friday.
yeah.
And we went to dinner at the place that you guys were.
Yeah, we sort of kind of crashed your honeymoon.
Yeah, we
but we
tried
figured
to.
you wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
Skedaddled out of there just before you guys
Very
arrived.
wise.
So where did that quote come from? Lisa wrote the book and she supposedly quoted herself. So I really hope this isn't how Lisa has been doing her journalism for all these years. And it gets worse. Soon cracks started appearing and commentators emerged questioning the accuracy of multiple claims.
People are coming forward to me with their recollections and they don't stack up with what Lisa has included in her book. She described in her book extract where at 5:15 in the morning, Karl threw to Airlie Walsh, and Airlie Walsh wasn't reading the news that day. So I know that's a little thing, but if you're going to get little things wrong, people are going to start to doubt the entire thing. Now, I also have in front of me here a copy of the rundown from the Today Show that day. Now, Lisa said she was cut out. It became the Karl Show. All she was doing was throwing to the news and the weather, and she felt terrible. Well, I'm not disputing how she felt, but I've got the rundown in front of me, and she didn't get the lead story that day out of the 7 o'clock news and weather, but the rest of the show is a very even spread between Karl and Lisa.
Sophie, are you looking forward to reading the rest of this book? Because I sure am.
Well, look, Jack, this is really concerning that these details in Lisa's book are not right. And I think this has put a big dampener on people wanting to read the book. Of course, I'm like many other people who are curious to see what other issues arise from this book. She's painted Karl, from what we've seen, in not a very good light. But the trouble with this, Jack, is vision emerges. This is stuff that happened in front of a camera, there's records, and they're being leaked. And it shows what Lisa's recollections are saying don't marry up with what actually happened. And that is not good. It's particularly not good for Lisa, who prides herself on being accurate with information, and it casts doubt on her book and what else is in there and how accurate other claims that we'll see emerge from the book, how they actually stack up in contrast to reality.
Yeah, and Chris, the other thing that's really interesting about this is the whole argument that Lisa is putting forward is this story about the gender pay gap and how she was unfairly disparaged. But now you're looking at this, and if all of these little details aren't correct, how accurate do we think the broader message of the book is?
Well, we know it's not accurate at all, Jack. I mean, this is the look, I've got to tell you, I won't be reading the book, and I don't watch breakfast TV except for 2 weeks in the mid-'80s when I was stuck in Mildura on my own for a while. I watched some breakfast TV. But honestly, she's gone with this gender pay gap thing. She was asking for $2.3 million. And it turns out that in previous years, Karl had been paid a lot less than her anyway when he was the new guy on the show. So the whole gender pay gap thing is such a ruse, playing the victim because she wanted $2.3 million a year. I'm certain that will resonate with female viewers right around the country. What staggers me with all of this, Jack, is just the ego. Where do you get egos so mutated like this that they frame themselves in this way? And she's prepared to play the victim over not getting $2.3 million.
and write all of that
And
about
Jack,
your
can I
colleagues.
just jump in there?
Of course.
Can I just jump in there, Jack, and say we're not comparing apples with apples here. Lisa had other deals on the side. She had a contract with Huffington Post that Channel 9 were not happy about. What I've been told from my sources is that with Karl, you got 100% of Karl. Everything, it was Karl's whole package. With Lisa, you didn't. Lisa had these deals on the side. She wanted to keep those going, and she also wanted the same money as Karl. And it's not comparing apples with apples, it's comparing apples with oranges.
Well said, Sophie Ellsworth. Chris Kenny, thank you so much for your time, both.
Pleasure, Jack.